Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, it's there.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to the Apostate Coalition, who so graciously hosts this show, where we are like the Seinfeld of religion, I guess. We talk about nothing. No, just kidding. Um, welcome back. Sorry we were a bit hiatus there. We had a couple of weeks that we were off the air for various reasons, mostly my fault. Sorry about that.
It's like half
Um,
your fault. We missed a couple
sorry.
weeks even before you did anything at all. It was so long
No.
ago that we started missing. I don't even remember the first reason we missed.
Well, welcome back, because this is also the first time we've actually done this since then as well. So if we're a
The
little
devil
rusty,
got a hold of us.
Oh
oh,
God,
oh
there he is
my,
again.
he who has what now on me? Just kidding.
The
Oh, y'all can hear
devil?
that? Y'all can hear that too.
Welcome back. We are, I don't know, what are we, the worldly perspective on the Apostate Coalition. We may be one member short today. Our most glorious connection to the universe is Ryan, and she is
Still in
wonderful.
Satan's grasp.
And
Yes.
she may or may not be able to join us, but we'll keep hoping she can make it.
We'll pray. We'll pray for her.
The wonderful Tyler Rickshaw. Introduce yourself. How have you been?
Oh man, I've been good. I've been. I don't know, man. I just been here at the house. I
Well,
ain't been
long
doing.
live the king.
Don't do. Ain't been done much of nothing. Ever since everybody went off and abandoned us, and y'all let the world take over. I stayed fast and I read my Bible.
That must have been boring. Dobstopper, how have you been? Welcome back to the show.
I've been doing well. I have been busy too. Uh, the college semester is ending. This is the final week, so it's been very busy. I did get a B on my math final though, so I get a C in the class, which passes, and now I don't have to do math ever again.
Sucker, that's so not true. Yes, you will. Well, you have to do.
I ain't gonna do this kind of math ever again.
What was that last bit? What were you getting? Some social help, right? Some new technology calculator that you discovered.
Yeah, they have calculators that'll just look at it and then solve it for you now, called
Really?
AI. And uh, at first I was taking pictures with my phone and being like, "Can you figure out how to do this to the AI? Can you solve this or solve this?" And then I figured out how to screenshot directly from my computer and send it directly to the app on my phone.
You cheat.
Oh yeah, but I had learned this. I learned what I needed to learn to get the B. I just needed to get the assignments done for math.
Oh my God! See, I told y'all, man. The devil done had a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all out in the world stealing and she's doing God knows what.
But it has no problem doing any kind of complicated stuff, and it helped me learn some things too while doing it.
Could you ask it to explain to you why your answer wasn't correct?
I didn't give any answers in that, but I did use AI for something else in the past day or two, and I remember asking it what it's. Oh, I asked AI, what is the amount of ethanol 1 pound of rice can produce versus 1 pound of corn versus 1 pound of potatoes, and it gave me numbers for how much ethanol each one could produce, and I said, "What are your sources on that?" And then it went back and gave me the links to the official government websites for each number. It was a government website
Hmm.
that told you how much ethanol these things would produce.
Yeah, interesting.
So you can
Um,
ask it for sources, which you should do.
well, I think you just highlighted a really great thing about AI is that they can be great tools, but they can also just give you bad information. Have you heard of the term garbage in, garbage out?
Yeah, so if you ask it, why are all immigrants criminals? It might come back and be like, well, because, and then send you a link. Its source is going to be some QAnon message board or something.
Good old
It's
QAR.
aggregating for an answer that will satisfy you.
Right. If you ask it, I really want to stay in a hotel in this particular place, and there are no hotels in that place, it may just make up hotel names for you. And there are examples of that people have found. So it may just tell you what it thinks you want to hear because it has prioritized that as being most important, and it doesn't know what to do when it doesn't have the answer to your question. And so it just gives you an answer.
Gives you an
Top 10
answer.
Really
hotels in
similar to
Western
human
Sahara.
brains. We all talked at the same time. I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything you guys said.
I said, give me top 10 hotels in the Western Sahara. I might give me a list of 10. We'll see. I think there's one hotel in the Western Sahara. It's probably some guy's house.
Hi, Dan.
Hey,
I
Dan.
forgot about everybody here. Hi, everybody. Hello.
Wow.
Hi. Thank you. Usually Ryan's here and she's so good
She's
at doing all
on top
this,
of it.
but she's on top of it, and sorry.
Oh,
Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. I wasn't sure if anybody would want to. Oh, wait. There we go. I'm getting them out of order. Damn it.
we need to figure out. I don't know. We gotta do some work on this show. The original format worked well for the original content.
Yeah, well, we was reading it. We was reading a good book, but y'all got.
Well,
But
that's
y'all
true.
y'all didn't want to hit a word, so here we are.
Maybe we should just start. Maybe this should just be a book club. We could read. I got Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas in front of me.
Oh, you mean any kind of book?
Yeah. How about science
Okay.
books?
Oh my god.
Peer
you
review
actually-
journals.
Not gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna be reading.
So Sean here says in the beginning of the show before we even started that he just heard of us a couple of hours ago and subscribed, even though we've been quiet and haven't been around.
Oh,
Here we are,
well,
right?
you picked the wrong time, really, to be
Oh,
honest with you. You should have came in
oh.
during a different show, bud.
Oh yeah, man.
Appreciate you anyways.
I then replied, I can't promise you a good time, but I can promise you we'll waste your time.
Yeah.
So I'm Dr. Time Waster. Hello, everybody. If you don't know me, that is what I do. I guess we could reintroduce ourselves here, but we started this as we were talking just moments ago because I'd say 75% of the people who were always on this show, which were one short today, was raised in Jehovah's Witness and no longer a part of. And
I'm not one of them.
he's not one of them, but he wants to be. So, anyways, so we started the show reading a book that was given to one of us moments before we decided to start the show about evolution.
It was me.
It was Dobstopper, and he got a book about the evolution or versus creation book. Which one? I hate them so much. Anyway, we read as far as we could read.
I have it over here. Let me grab
we went deep dive because my title is a joke, but also do have a doctorate, and so I liked. All I really did was just look at the sources of their, our book article, and then we all compared and contrasted and discussed it. And it just got really repetitive after like a few chapters, unfortunately. So then we started reading other books, and now I think we've just been hanging out.
Yeah,
Right.
we
How
just
did
been
it
alone.
get here? By evolution or by creation?
Evolution and creation.
Well, the creator created evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could get along with that slightly more, but usually that argument is a God of the Gaps one.
Look, I don't really care about that. If somebody believe that, yeah, man, that's cool. But it's like everything after that starts getting weird.
Yeah,
it's coming over. They start coming over with like weird rules and like, hey, no.
Well, I think that was the ultimate point we made, is that if you really want to genuinely read through it, compare it, and look at it from a perspective of unbiased from either answer, like if you just objectively look at the book and look at different and then compare it to other sources, or read or scrutinize the sources, you suddenly break it down and it becomes just this terrible, ridiculous argument that just leaves so many holes and room for more questions that if we can't ask those questions and genuinely explore that, then we're just shutting it down and telling everybody you have to believe this. And I think that summarized the whole thing.
Yeah, but for most people, that's what people like.
Well, of course, there's times or places
Yeah.
or situations where people want people to just tell them what to do
And that's
for
one of
various reasons.
and that's one of the times right there. It's just like because the book is written like it's written to make you feel like you're smart. Like they're using big words. It looks like it looks like a textbook. It has all these diagrams that don't mean much or
Oh,
nothing. But
whatever
to a
they
person who isn't really formed or really, this average person ain't really trying to learn all this, but they want to feel like they know. And it makes them not feel as stupid about the thing they believe.
the first thing they made sure to show me is look at all the sources in the back.
You see, you know what I'm saying? Because without
Which, if you weren't here for it, we went through all the sources.
That's
or
basically
a lot
all
of
we
them.
really did.
it on its own just sounds stupid, and like you got to make people feel like they're smart about the thing that's stupid.
But we all want to feel smart.
Well, they
Who
feel
doesn't
smart.
want to feel smart?
Well, I'll tell you, people that are smart feel stupid.
What is that? The Dunning-Kruger effect?
Is that part of the Dunning-Kruger?
I don't know. I'm probably getting the wrong.
It might be.
I don't feel like
the opposite direction.
I don't feel like I'm particularly smart, but sometimes I'll be like, "Dang, are they even going? Oh, they just not even gonna use their brain, huh?" Okay.
Yeah.
It's like you ain't
That's basically when I started to like come to terms with like, all right, I guess I'm smart. Is whenever I started seeing people I think I sent y'all a video of somebody who was talking about Jesus or Trump being led by Jesus this morning. You might not have watched it, but sometimes you just see people do some very
I'm sorry, I do remember what you're talking about.
very basic thinking in their head, and you can see that the wheels don't turn any further. You're like, all right, maybe I have something going on that other people ain't.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I gotta fix my monitor. It came in.
Sinning.
I'll mute my mic.
He's the real sinner. You noticed he accused us of sinning first. That was the first thing out of his mouth. And what's he doing? He's behind closed doors, sinning. You just know it.
I mean,
was sinning.
Every opportunity I get, I usually sin as well. I just took a sip of this beverage. I mean, that was a sin.
Sin. I am sinning on a mango cider. It's pretty good. It's got a giraffe on it. It's pretty cool.
It sounds pretty good. I'm just having a regular old beer.
Does anybody else have a sin of choice that they're indulging in this evening while you're watching our show? Please tell us. We'd like to know. This is the dirty hour now that Tyler's
unless it's going to involve us in any sort of investigation.
Oh, don't get us kicked off the
or
air.
get us kicked off. But
please don't be cruel.
Yes, son, confess your sins unless it involves me in any crimes.
unless I have to say, oh, speaking of which, I'm sure many of you probably already heard this, but if you have not, we have talked about Washington State was trying to pass a state legislative bill to make clergy of all kinds mandatory reporters for child abuse. So if they see abuse, they need to report it, right? And really, I think it just kind of makes sense. In fact, I think most people were shocked if they found out that their state didn't mandate clergy to report abuse. And so I think you should all be shocked to find out that you probably live in a state, except for now, myself and Tyler, who clergy are mandated, right?
Yeah, I've just been repenting.
Repenting. Okay. You had to go sin real quick though to repent.
No, I had to fix. No, my monitor is turned off. So I had to kind of jiggle the wire down
Oh,
there. It don't even sound
that
right.
weird jiggling over there. So, anyways, I just wanted to bring it since we talked about it several times with the different iterations of the law that they tried to pass. They tried to make exceptions. Catholics wanted exception for
Pause.
privilege.
Stop. Got
Oh,
cast away.
son of a bitch. That's fine. All right. I'll find him when he comes back. Yeah, I just want to get through this shit. Okay. Good news. It passed, right? So no exceptions. There's not going to be an exception for any particular religion who says that the secrets that they get told in private should stay private. Welcome back. He's repentant now, so I guess it's my turn next. Anyways, so good news. Washington State now has mandated that clergy, which includes and was originally written because of the Jehovah's Witnesses elder scandal that has been state by statewide. I mean, pick a country, a modern country, pick a state here in the United States. There's cases. Some of them are pretty bad. So really all this is going to do is just hold them accountable to know that they have to follow the law and they have to report it. And so either they will blatantly cover things up, which I think there's also evidence of them destroying documents that they even had these conversations, and they get involved in these things to a level and then they don't even report it to the police, and now they have to report it to somebody, and it can't just be their hierarchy that then tells them what to do. So I think this is good for every child everywhere to be able to have another safe space, and if they find that a safe space, they can use it, hopefully, legally, and if not, and then there's, I guess, more room to sue. I don't know what the consequences are if they don't, but anyways, good news.
Good day, Mom. Good news. You're from Texas. We're just Texas, in or not?
I did want to go back to a comment Dan said earlier, unrelated to the bill.
Wow.
He was asking you, Tyler, if you went to the memorial and got your wine and crackers.
Oh yeah. Did you do you even know what the memorial is, Tyler?
No.
Have you not gotten an invitation from the Jehovah's Witnesses to attend the memorial?
It's the holiday. It's the only holy holiday they have.
What? The memorial?
Yes. It's just
not on Memorial Day like you think it is.
It's just before Easter, right?
It's on a Jewish lunar calendar or something. Some
Easter
calendar of the way that they tracked time in Jesus' day when it happened or something. I don't know.
Is it always on a Tuesday or something?
Oh my God, I don't think so. Somebody in the chat who knows the answer to this, help us out. Nisan 14, fuck, I don't know. It's just some way of measuring time that
it's like Jehovah.
Extra special and separate and even more true truth. They're the truest of truths.
True.
So yes, it's like so it's like Jehovah Witness prom or something.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I mean, actually, how old you were. For girls, it often was the time they got to get brand new dresses,
I have seen basically prom dresses almost at this shit before.
Or the special assembly or something. Anyway, ooh, somebody confirmed my bias. That's what I was told is what this person has, Sean has just verified. After sundown, that's right, because it's day starts at sundown, because they start the day at the end of the day.
Y'all whack. Well, whack, man.
It is, excuse me, that is racist because it is a cultural appropriation that they're doing. So you're really actually being racist to, I think, Jewish people. I don't know.
I'm saying. I
don't know. All I know is I had the truth, and it was the true, and I didn't.
I don't know. Jehovah's Witnesses are whack. That's why y'all can't grow, because you have to already be tied into that to get into that. It's hard to pull somebody from the regular world. Like, what? No Christmas.
I can
Yeah,
definitely
no.
see it being much easier to recruit Jehovah's Witnesses way back in the day,
Oh, yeah.
before the internet and all that.
Y'all recruiting it all the time. Low, y'all look, but they be well, not y'all, but they be looking pathetic. You looking them at the zoo, standing out there next to their little stand. Ain't nobody walking to you, making everybody. You can see everybody just going around.
Well, at first when you said looking at them at the zoo, I'm like, what the fuck kind
That's
of zoo you
racist.
going to?
Racist.
You look
Oh,
at
they
the Jehovah's Witness exhibit.
oh well, they be outside. They be in the front of the zoo.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I figured it out pretty quick, but
Oh, yeah, but it was.
man, they probably should put them in the zoo though.
I be wanting to talk to them just to make them feel good, but I'd be like,
Yeah, don't
dang.
do that. I
What?
highly recommend
What?
people do
What?
not do that.
What they gonna do?
Oh, you're gonna get sucked in.
You think
You're gonna be baptized in a week.
they can't get me?
Have you
You
ever
done been got
raised
3
your hand if
times.
you ever wished you could believe?
Hmm?
I said,
Oh,
raise your
yeah.
hand if you ever wished you could believe.
Definitely.
Like you
Like a joke. Like
wish
a joke.
you believed in what they believed in. You prayed to believe in what they believed in.
Not Jehovah Witness, just regular old Christianity.
Just
Regular Christianity,
what
yeah.
yeah, but you don't believe it, but you wished you did.
Oh yeah, it'd be great, man. Life would be great.
This
I
is
don't
why
anymore, but I have in the past.
I don't even know what they feel like.
well, here's what it feels like. If you watched X-Files, then you would know that Mulder has a poster hanging up in his offices as I want to believe.
First of all, I've
Oh.
watched that. How many episodes? I watched an episode.
4.
Episode
4
1.
episodes. I don't watch one
Oh.
episode since
He's watched 4 episodes. How
We started
long
the
ago
show.
did you say you would start watching this?
How long have we been doing this show? A year and a half? What? How long has it been?
Oh fuck, I don't know. Yeah, we started in a September-ish time frame. So it's almost like it's like a year and a half. You guys have been listening to us for this long. We have been yammering for this long. So
Well, we got like 3 or 4 loyalists that have been with us since the beginning. Most of them also involve the channel in some other fashion.
haha, cult. Haha, I can't get away from the cult, so we make our own. Just kidding. Dan says don't question it. Don't question it's the truth because it's coming straight from New York. That's right.
Hey, we got the truth here.
It's such a bizarre thing to think about. Like I've been out for 20 years-ish, more. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? 22 years. And that's just like when I got disfellowshipped. And like there was a time I believed it, and then there was a time I was like, sure, I mean, I believe it, but then like didn't want to do any of those things. And like if you kind of asked me, I'd be like, well, no, not that. I mean, that's not good. I was even telling my mom not that long ago, who is still Jehovah's Witness, that I believed in the way she believed in it, because the Jesus my mom talked about, the Jehovah my mom described, was nice, was cool, was a feminist God, right? Like it was a very liberal and very like hip and with the changes of the world, and kind and courteous and thoughtful and loving, like those were the things that like I took away from it. But now I talk about it and think about it and I look at it from a completely different perspective and I'm like, oh, that is so toxic. Fuck. Like, oh no. I mean, there's nice things you're saying, but then you're just not, you pasted over all the bad things and don't.
Because that's the problem. Because it's like you got this really like whenever I would think about it, I thought, oh yeah, it's kind of like like this Superman kind of like person, like he's on the side of justice, like he's trying. But then when you think about it, it's like it's starting to sound weird. It sounded, but the thing for me is it didn't take very long for it to sound weird to me. Like it started sounding weird really quick for me. I was like, oh, this is weird. Because the more they talk, it's like, because now you start wondering, like, what did all this other stuff got to do with anything? Like, it just seems like all this unnecessary things. Like, if I'm a non-empathetic being, the things that they think he care about seem weird and like why would he care about your? I mean, like, I don't think about like what's going on between ants and their sexual. I don't think about them. I don't think about what ants are doing sexually.
Yeah, he's all knowing, but he
You
cares
should
a whole lot about whether or not you
I'm
make
like,
your
I'm pondering.
fabrics.
I say, you know what? What's those ants? Let me find out those ants. Like, why would I care? I'm going on. And like, and you described this
And you
very.
think God, who's an all-powerful being, would care about the ant even, right? But not
But,
really, because they
but
love
I'm saying though,
squish.
but
But
you got this.
you are special.
But you got this omnipotent being caring about frivolous things that don't matter. Like, why
So
would you wait?
basically,
Why would
God,
God that?
I was gonna say, God doesn't care about the ants unless the ants start putting things in each other's buttholes, and that's weird. And then he starts smiting the ants after that. So
But that's the thing though. That's the weird part of the belief. Like, you believe. I'm not tripping off that. It's cool that you believe in this all powerful thing. I don't particularly care. I'm not bothered by that. But it don't make sense to have this super powerful being caring about sex. So that's so much. And weird things about buttons and when you eat and all that. Why would he care? I don't. Do you think about ants and how they eat? I don't care how they eating their food. I'm not thinking about it. I don't care what they wear. I don't care how they get. I don't care how they interact with each other. I don't care because
right.
I'm more powerful than them. So I
I
don't
mean,
even
I'm
think
gonna take
about
a step further and say I also am, I would say, like relatively speaking, equally powerful to you when it comes to stepping on an ant, right? We kill them dead the same, right? But I'm curious about how they like you don't care, and that's fine. You walk on the sidewalk, you're probably gonna maybe not get out of the way, but you're also not gonna go out of your way to step on them, maybe. I'm curious and I want to learn more about them. And we can both equally do that and still not have like and still none of that is the God like I'm curious, but I'm not so curious that I'm going to get involved in each and every ant's life and dictate again whether they put things up each other's buttholes. And so
Like, that's what I'm saying. When I say I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about an ant sex life.
Like I care about like reducing suffering, but if there's no measurable way of reducing suffering at all,
Just
I
gonna
definitely
go.
don't care. Like I do not give a shit. If
I
it
mean,
increases joy, I care. Increase
but
joy.
and they
Do
be
it
like,
more.
but they always say the opposite. They'll go, look how complex the world is. But then you have this very simple, basic God that don't do anything.
he's
It's like,
also complex, but he's so complex we could never possibly ever fathom and understand it. Therefore, let's focus on each other and make sure each other is doing the right thing. And I think it's a combination of what Emily said here, where she said we all had to be compliant little robots. That's just kind of how every society seems to function, is at least have some kind of compliant little robots. And each religion seems to also be its own little mini tribe and mini society. And the bigger it gets, the more rules you got to have. And so, yeah, it makes sense that Jehovah's Witnesses want to, take advantage of the world of like, freedom of religion and come up with your own rules and your own way of life. And then it just silos into a little controlling group of men in New York who, you can't question them. You can't learn the nuance of things and have real discussions. Those meetings are fucking boring. Like, I'm curious about stuff. I want to learn about the ants, but I can actually learn about the ants because they don't care about me learning about them.
If
But
I
if I
find
do
out them
that as a religion,
ants can only do it missionary. No other way.
But not if you observe them long enough. And anyway,
but
if you can't question it, you don't question it because it's the truth, but you also can't question it because it's the truth. Trust us, we know. And that's where it's, it's easy to see the connection between people in power and wanting compliant little robots. Yeah, and also robots and ants seem very similar to me.
But
robots, ants,
think about it, you got this
fantasy is what
you got this God they say that made this very complicated system called our body. That's what they're saying. He put this. He took like special care to make sure everything. He did all this extra care, and then when it came to like keeping up with the documentation they want people to live by, he
I need
couldn't
you
do
to
it.
have faith that
I'm
busy. I got other things to do, you
He
know.
couldn't put that together any better. Like
He's got
and it's
other, you know, pots of earths in other
in the
dimensions.
time
to
in the
check
time
out.
in a time period where you can where like in it like why not like right now you know every time I say if he come he did came back but we killed him. I said like I think it's easier to believe now. Like just you know broadcast, but I don't but I don't particularly care either way if you believe in it. It's just that I don't even like what pisses me off. Well, pisses me off is the like man your logic even in the belief is weird. It's like, hey man, come on, at least dumb them down a little bit.
One of the big problems, I think one of the big problems with a lot of God definitions comes from all powerful and all knowing. Because when you're all powerful and all knowing, you could have just made things good from the get go. But if you have a definition of God that's like he's bound by his own nature as well,
So,
then that makes a little bit more sense.
but it's always he wants you to choose. But if he wants you to choose, but he already knows what you're gonna choose, he already so how are you like what's the point?
Boring. What's the point? That sounds such like a boring existence. I already know the answer to every question that could ever be asked because I'm all knowing and
then
what's the point?
Then even the idea of just existing forever seems like well, it's like it's hard for me to think about it because it's like okay, I'll find out when I get there. But, you know, it is what it is. But I doubt it's whatever you think it is.
What are the odds? Let's really calculate them. It's not 50-50. I promise you that.
Because my thing is like this. I'm for sure you've never died before.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Nobody on this planet knows. Only the people that know are dead.
Right.
Some people have died and they have their stories, but the stories do not.
But those
are not consistent with each other.
But they're not. But they still had brain activity.
Right. How long can you go? Like how dead is dead? Like when do we actually consider somebody dead? I would argue that if you can bring them back to life at their normal level, then they never were dead.
Jesus never
be
did any miracle with Lazarus. He was never dead.
Hold on, though.
He was never dead.
Hold on, though. You got to understand, though. Some of these people who saying these near-death experiences did not actually die. They just think they died.
Well, because everything that happens in our brain is our thoughts.
Exactly. So they think they died. So they're telling other people that they died, and those people are like
to argue. I guess.
Yeah, because the average person ain't asking questions. And then some people are like, oh, that's weird, but then some people are like, yeah, and they just accept it.
Yeah,
I've seen it with my bare eyes. Watch people just accept it.
And here's the thing about eyewitness, events. Seeing is believing, and believing in somebody else's vision is a different story that I believe should be highly scrutinized. If it is somebody else's eyewitness testimony that is the believable thing, because I've had people very close to me even say, well, I personally experienced this event and I felt the presence of God, or I knew that I was, in heaven or whatever it is. It was enough for them to believe. And that is fair, because I think that you could argue that everything that we see and experience is how we believe, in whatever it is we believe. It was convincing, right? The experience was convincing. But also, why, for me to believe in what they're saying, especially if it seems very, very strange and not confirmable, I should be equally skeptical.
See, but you're thinking like you.
But
you got to think like how they thinking. You're thinking they're not. What you just said, they're that is not the process right in their head.
I'm not
And
saying I always thought that way either.
I
It's just
know,
something I've learned that I need
but
to
they
scrutinize more
but
when it's not my
how did you get
experience.
there though? How did you get there though?
Probably believing somebody else's eyewitness experience
No,
and
I'm talking about like
realizing
how did you come out of that? Is what I was saying. I mean,
failure, recognizing being wrong, recognizing that I guess that it's okay to be wrong as long as you then take that information and do better.
no.
You know,
What was the when was like what was it that made you go from not thinking like that about it to thinking like that about it?
I mean, I can't say I'm
What just
telling
made
you
you
the
start
thought
questioning things more?
process
I mean,
that got
like
me to critical thinking, and it's the critical thinking that I got to that made me realize, oh, there's different ways to approach each problem. I don't have to just take somebody for their word. I don't have to just believe that because it's written in a book or it's on TV or it's printed in a newspaper that it's the only truth or that it is true. And then just getting into the idea of, well, how would I know it's true? You know,
do
how
you,
would I know that's true? Like, how do I ask
do you
questions and
think
how I find things
like
out?
see you was able like how your upbringing probably was different from a different Jehovah Witness house.
But my
You
sister and I grew up in the same
yeah,
house, and then we're like two completely like 160
yeah, but y'all have different mothers though. So your
same
relate
parents, same household.
No. I meant like different mothers in terms of not like y'all have separate mothers, but each I'm different to my kids. Like we're not. I'm not the same
We didn't
for
have the same experience. I mean, we weren't.
I'm
Yeah,
like I'm a different dad to each one, but I'm the same dad, but I'm a different one based on
but
who
it's
they are,
similar
what they are.
variables, so it just shows you the variability within the same
Yeah, no. But we're
whole
getting into
environment.
we're getting into the weeds.
No, but
Come
these,
out,
you know,
come
details
out the
help
come out the.
you
I know, but you got to
learn.
come out. You got to come out the weeds. Come out the weeds. Come out the weeds. Because I was just saying though, like how you like. I'm trying to think of how would a person like if somebody like because you got the like was your because you saw was your family like just really strict on being Jehovah Witness?
I mean, my
Pretty
parents got
much was.
divorced when I was 5, so no.
That's what I'm saying. Like were they really
My
strict?
dad wanted to be, but he didn't have full-time custody.
You see what I'm saying? Versus somebody in the house where like it's super strict on Jehovah Witness on them. So it's like how would they? It's going to be hard for them to get there because they
Oh,
have a
of course.
If both
different
parents
experience.
You're
It's
talking
like
about privilege on a varying degree. We're in the
but
same environment, but you had a handicap that I didn't have, and therefore I had one step up higher on the ladder than you did.
versus like for me, for example, not have it's easy for me to get here to think like this because almost virtually never have it shoved down my throat. I was never part of organized religion. I wasn't forced to be in it,
Yeah,
and
but you
it
can still have the same problems of critical thinking skills to learn that everybody else did. You just had one less barrier. You were
yeah,
one
yeah,
step.
yeah. But I'm just talking about just based off how it was easy for me to explore more because nobody was, hey, stop learning that, stop learning that, stop learning that, stop learning that. I was just left to just, hey, go do that. And I was just bored in
You
a little
turned out
town.
fine. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, you know. I used to because my mom had like these encyclopedia books in her closet, and you ain't got nothing to do, so I'll just be and I
Yeah.
just assumed everybody. I like when they said we came from, you know how they say it back. We came
Right.
from monkeys. We
Could
came from
you
monkeys.
imagine if your mom's closet was only filled with Jehovah's Witness books? And how bored would you have to be? I tell you, I played in the dirt outside a lot. I got imaginative and played like solo games. Like I was very, like you weren't allowed to hang out with other kids or it just wasn't like
We've
feasible.
got a Jehovah's Witness
People didn't want
library
to
in this
read
house
them.
right now.
They were boring. They're
Poor,
boring. I
poor
stopped
Jehovah.
learning from them even as a kid.
Poor, poor Jehovah. Poor Jehovah.
I know. He's so disappointed in me.
Yeah, I remember y'all though. We remember y'all. We always felt bad for y'all.
I feel worse about disappointing my mom than I do Jehovah. So
Hmm.
Dang, that's
Well, I
heavy,
mean,
man.
one's real.
Yeah.
On the real one is real. You know, my mom is a believer. She doesn't know that I don't believe, but we don't talk about religion, so it's no reason to talk about it.
Well, so I kind of feel like because in my early years, of course, I would say I believed, um, and I thought it was the one true religion. I just went with what everybody else was saying around me, and didn't realize maybe how isolated I really was. Um, but also, my love for Jehovah was really my love for my parents, right? And I loved my parents, and therefore I had to therefore ergo, right? If this plus this equal, you kind of have to. But I realized like all those feelings that I really had, they were really just things that I was doing to make my parents happy and to show my love and affection for my parents who were raising me, who, created my environment for as much as they had control over. And my reciprocal feelings were to believe in and love whatever God they believed in. And that's, I think, the rough part was when I kind of figured out, like, I don't really think there is one. And I realize now that what I'm doing isn't what I've been saying I've been doing or what everybody thinks that we're doing. And I wonder how many other people feel this way. And oh my God, what do I do with this information? And, it just slowly snowballs from there. And then when I think you get to that point, you make decisions. And sometimes you regret them. And sometimes you make bad ones. And sometimes you just pretend you believe just so you don't have to lose things. And I don't blame anybody for wherever they took that from there on, because life is fucking hard. And I miss my family. I missed out on a lot of family things, and I don't regret being
Well,
honest with myself, but it
not
still
to
sucks
interrupt you, but it sounds like it's a perfect time for you to return.
to return to
That's the whole. That's my whole plan. I've been away
no,
trying to get this. Is what I've been setting this up for. I like to invite y'all out. I'm starting up.
convert us to your version of
My
Jehovah.
version. New Jehovah Witnesses. It's gonna be cool, man. You're gonna get to do stuff.
I'm not. You're gonna get me. I'm not no snitch. So I'm not a witness of
You're
Jehovah.
gonna get to do stuff in my Jehovah building. All we do is hang out.
That
Hang
sounds
out.
cooler than
And you gotta
what?
watch it. Hang out, and you gotta watch like King of the Hill like all the time.
Do we have to confess our sins to you and then get in trouble for
I
doing
don't
that
care.
stuff?
I don't care what you're doing. I prefer you just don't even tell nothing to me. Keep whatever you do. You feel bad, don't come here.
We've been doing butt stuff.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know your personal life. You keep that at home. Keep that separate. I like to keep my I used to tell people, I like to keep my personal life and my other lives separate. So I just separate everything. Like outside of y'all, I'm like a vigilante. Not
It's leaking. The really is leaking out here. Dan D just says the saddest fucking thing I've ever heard. No, I'm just kidding.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
it is so sad that you work hard to like get some kind of achievement. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm not gonna say I didn't work hard and I don't, like I worked really hard. But I did what I wanted to do. And I went into, I got my doctorate in pharmacy because obviously I like asking questions and I like knowing things. I like knowing how things work. And now I get to study how drugs change biology of our human bodies and how our human bodies change the drug
That's what I study
and
all the
all
time
of the
too.
effects of that. And that's literally what I studied. And it's fucking awesome. I love it. It's cool. But yeah, it does feel like I'm still, she it feels like clearly she's disappointed in me because to her, the most important thing I could have ever done to make her happy is to just keep living the dream, And
That's so
I'm not going to say my mom
weird.
isn't somewhat proud of me. She obviously is benefiting from my expertise right now because she's going through some health issues, but and I'm happy to do it. That's part of why it's like a double whammy, right? I get this knowledge, I get to learn all this cool stuff, and I can help people. People
I
in my
bet your mom is proud of you, but she can't say it.
she is proud of me, and she probably can say it to some degree, and I think she says it in her actions in some ways, different than I have witnessed before.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because to be perfectly honest, she hasn't known the real me since I was probably a teenager, because I had to build a wall between the two of us in order to keep the peace, keep the relationship going, and we both have just made this unspoken pact of we'll keep each other in our lives. We'll try and get the other person, but gently, but not crossing too many barriers, but kind of a little bit. Um,
That's how
and
that's
not lose faith in the other person, that maybe someday the other person will be a little bit more open and want to.
somebody. Yeah, it's a little. You get to like an equilibrium of tug and pull.
Right.
Boy, it's like yeah. So it just balances you out, and that's how you got to do with those people.
Yeah.
Not everybody's able to do that with everybody, but that's like that's how I've managed to manage throughout my life. Is because people don't. I don't know. I don't know. People. I don't talk about religion with people, but I be around religious people, and I just be like, oh, okay. Because usually it comes because on the average day, it doesn't come up like how it comes up on TikTok. Like how on TikTok, it comes up aggressive, invading, and there's always something about the average. So when you just out and about, the average person really isn't really talking about it like that. They may just reference it. He might go, "Aw," but okay, whatever. We have he's like, "Oh, okay, we're having a good time." I'll let it roll because they have a fail safe in their system that the fail safe is the enemy. So no matter how logical you sound, no matter what you say, it still plays into the thing that they.
Like something Satan would
Oh,
say.
I just talked about this earlier today. I was like, I one thing that I avoid talking about, like the plague, and I will not go into it very deep now, is the topic of transgender. But living in Arkansas with a bunch of people that watch a lot of cable news, I certainly hear about it a lot, and I just keep my mouth shut. But one time, somebody was going on and on about it, and I felt the need to pipe up and be like, intersex is also a thing, and I started
How
teaching them
dare
about,
you?
yeah, I started teaching them about intersex people. That's like over almost 2% of the population, more than redheads, and this and that. And at the end of it, they didn't hear anything I said. The only thing they now know is that I'm woke. They didn't hear a single damn
I
thing that
hear
I
word you
heard.
said,
Yeah,
but you sound.
yeah.
What was it? What was it in
And then now they just don't care
Oh.
about anything I say at all. Anyway, so you just can't talk about anything.
But
But in Idiocracy, they used to say that he sounded. What did they say? Like, oh, you
Oh,
sound.
they said the F
Oh,
slur.
the F slur. Like, oh, you
Yeah,
sound like effeminate, or like they were just
yeah,
basically saying he's gay or something the way
yeah.
he
yeah.
talked. I gotcha. Yeah, that's
Oh
right.
man.
That's right. I just remember them, like, no matter what he said, they'd throw it. They'd be like, why you sound so,
Yeah.
But that, like, discredited him immediately.
Yep.
No matter
That's
what
what,
he said, everything
oh,
was like discredited.
Uh-huh.
that's that fail safe. So it's kind of
God,
like
that's such a
it
great movie.
almost
You
like
should just
it
watch
I
almost like
know.
it
I wish
almost like
we're watching that
because
movie on stream.
it's like it's almost like it's fuel for it too because they
Oh yeah.
need that they need the enemy to make
Mm-hmm.
it they need something to go against, so it's just this constant fuel and power. So it's like and I realized at least the way my method is, I said like I after that last time I got on that live just to have a concept, I ain't engaging anymore in that manner. Whoop whoop.
Hello, Dan.
At 20.
We should
Oh my
go
goodness.
away and come back more often. I don't know.
Stop stopper. Show them your eyebrows.
Mm-mm.
I didn't know my eyebrows were special.
I can't.
Yeah, so I don't engage with those people. After that last time I got on there and said, no, y'all got you got me sound like a buffoon on here. You're not really because boy, it's like, man, they ask you such weird. Those people on they ask you so outlandish questions.
Oh, I
That's
can tell you they
so
are very.
blatantly like it's so black. It just
You talking
you
about
get
like TikTok lives?
it's so black. It just leaves you flabbergasted for a
I mean,
minute.
pick any
So
topic where people want to just be
Yeah.
super polarized on, and they'll just make super disingenuous and just really bad, very loud, confident arguments, and you're just like, I can't.
And then
the reason I don't take part in these usually is because there is not going to be any winning, just like I just described. But on top of that, I can't really explain things to people, especially if I am frustrated at all, like with them. But even if I'm not frustrated, I can't explain things to people without seeming like I'm being like attacking them, I guess, uh, for not
Yeah.
already knowing it,
You're not in the art. You haven't learned the art
of
of
teaching.
engaging with people. It's not teaching people, engaging with them. You can't think you're teaching anybody anything. You
Right.
just gotta engage with people. And that's how I'm able to talk to literally anybody. You know I live. You know where I live. It's super.
But I can
It's
come up with
super.
like good responses all day long, but after the response is over, they're like, "Why are you an asshole, dude? You can calm down." I'm like,
Because
why put the energy
you're
You're
in?
so
talking,
mean.
you're talking too big.
Yeah.
You're talking too big. You
Is it
explaining.
too big or is it just the wrong words?
Yeah, too big of words, too long words, too long of
Just,
explanation.
but like not even too big, but just not the right ones they would interpret the correct way. Like this is a subtlety of language
Not
issue
to,
where
That's why
not
I put
to,
that Trump, pro-socialist Trump speech
like,
that I got AI to write.
not to. Here's the thing, though. Everybody has what
that
it is. One, they already got an idea in their head what a person that's woke looks like. So the minute you start talking, it's all
All right. Yeah.
they're
we
already
established the idiocracy parallel. Yes.
yeah, they've already you didn't even have to say the words yet. If you look like it, you're already
They're already not listening. They're listening
oh,
to the mouse in their head banging on the.
yeah. But see,
But
me,
they're just not your target audience
but
unless you want to change the
Right.
way you look.
True.
see me, I throw people off because you can't look at me and determine any of my political affiliations.
Well,
Nobody knows what.
Well, they can look at you and assume they might know, and then
Yeah,
as they
that's
talk
what I'm
to
saying.
you, that's the surprising part is because they'll but that's just what we're saying about everything. It's just varying degrees of what will they accept. So does your appearance and your presence and their perception of you fit in a category that they find more approachable, more reasonable so that they will be
Yeah,
reasonable and
and
engaging
and
genuinely?
and I have a
Versus like when I try and tell a family member or somebody close to me about something really important about pharmacy stuff, and it goes in one ear and out the other because they still see me as a child that they, baby they change diapers of or whatever, whatever it is, and they just can't see me as somebody who actually
well,
might know
if
what they're talking
Dobbs,
about and giving good advice
well,
because I'm not speaking the language they
if Dobbs
perceive that I should
Stopper,
do.
if Dobbs Stopper could tune into his southern accent, you could you can say a lot of things. They'll listen to you. It's like, oh yeah, he's one of us.
Oh
I
yeah.
know my yeah. You gotta lean.
I
You gotta lean into. You gotta lean into. Well, I don't really lean. It's just because I talk their language. The people I talk to these people. I've been around
Yeah.
these people as a regular, like, because I was never involved around religion. I just been around so many different people, hanging out with them, not through religion. Everybody I ever hung out was never through religion. So I didn't meet people through religion. I met them as the person, and yeah, they talked about it, but it wasn't. And I was like, oh yeah, man, that's cool. That we would talk about it. Most people I've ever talked about are
But
a lot
also
of
they
people that
knew
I
in a different
only
context.
a
hmm?
lot of people that I've a lot of people that I've only talked to like small talk will think that I'm like really conservative or something because I'll just talk normal like any other person and every other person around here is a conservative. So,
Yeah, but when I wanna,
but
like
it's just when you
playing a
go
dumb
any
role. I
deeper.
always do an Arkansas accent, you know. Like, I'm just kidding.
Every time I say y'all, now y'all need to listen about this socialism stuff.
Oh, you can't. It don't matter what accent you
If
say
you
that.
don't,
Yeah.
but
Even
see,
Trump
you're in a
people.
good position though if you just change your tactic and use their prejudice or perception of you against or for you, I should say. You could go, hey, y'all, and then they're going to expect you to say something. And then instead of just blowing their mind and saying the opposite, you still give them the socialist principles, but just don't use any of the terminology that would associate it with that and get them to go in the right direction, but in a way that they would expect you as whatever they perceive you to be. As Jay says, asking the right questions to get people thinking, and maybe they'll change their thinking on their own. You're just switching,
Right.
you're just code switching to what they perceive you would say or sound like. And then before they know it, they're like, oh, that concept really makes sense. Because there's concepts of communism that make sense. Shit, there's probably concepts of capitalism and, you know, fascism that have their time and place of certain situations that maybe kind of made sense on paper. It's all in how people use it and apply it that usually ruins all of those things. But you know, just kind of, it's a manipulation tactic, I guess.
I mean, yeah, that's a way of. Like, see, I don't.
Knowing about it means that you can inoculate yourself from it.
Yeah, I don't use it, but my thing is like I don't never. I'm not like I like talking to people. I really don't care about converting anybody.
You don't have an agenda.
I don't have an agenda to convince anybody to be anything. So I don't think about. So when I'm talking to people, I'm not thinking about how can I convince them to agree with whatever I'm trying to say, because I'm never trying to convince anybody of anything. Most of the time, I'm having a conversation, exploring my thoughts about something, and we may have something interesting about it. I say, oh, okay, I never thought about it like that. And that's why I follow people that make me go, that I adamantly get upset when I hear. I said, oh, I can't get them. I gotta keep following, because if I don't,
my problem here is I also am not trying to convince anybody of anything usually, but around where I live, so often, like, I'm trying to avoid all of the typical political conversations, and I'm trying to explore conversations that I'm interested in, like you're saying. And it just, the people around here, it takes 2 minutes for them to revert back to, yeah, but you know, Joe Biden ruined everything, or those woke idiots.
Let me show you how. Let me show you how I handled the conversation that started political out of nowhere. I just got through driving maybe 2.5 hours to the in-laws, and another family member was there. We walked in, and then it was all sitting in the living room, and uncle said, so Trump's tariffs affecting y'all yet? And I looked at him and said, hey, it is what it is. And then I went on by my way.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not gonna have this conversation with you. Like, I will not have a conversation with anybody. I think more people need to say, no, I'm not having a conversation, and go on.
Yeah.
It's okay not to have that conversation if you don't want it. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna talk to you. It's not even that I was gonna argue with him. I said, man, I just got through driving 2.5 hours, and you asked me about Trump and his tariffs. I ain't trying to have that conversation right now. How about hello? How you doing?
A lot of times these conversations can't end up with them questioning anything any more critically. There is nothing that you could propose to them. The only thing that it really presents to you to have this conversation is an opportunity to out yourself as somebody that they're going to conceive of as their enemy. You can continue to explore these things especially if you don't give a shit what people think about you. But only sometimes are you going to come across an actual opportunity to get them to consider an actual question that might spark some critical thinking.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, then great.
Yeah, I mean, some dude was trying to talk to me about, I took my kids out of home, get my kids out of school, get them out of homeschool. They teaching all types of stuff in the school. And I was just like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Went on by my way. I said, man, I'm not here to have this conversation with you. I'm not. My thing is like I don't give them fuel because
Hey, right.
that's what they want. They want the fuel of the conversation. I don't give it to them. I said, "Oh, okay," and go. Why would I give you more? Because I already know you already have your belief in what you believe, and I'm not here to convince you otherwise. So why
Same.
would I spend time pumping you up?
Same.
Right. Yeah, I don't
If
want to hear your
you
rants.
don't want to vaccinate your children, that's your choice. I would hope that you've educated yourself on the topic, given the risks. But please don't just tell me that you don't vaccinate your kids, because I don't. I'm if you're expecting that me as a pharmacist is gonna tell you why you should change your mind, I'm not. I probably don't care at that point. I mean, unless you're gonna be around somebody I care about and expose them, I suppose I care. But if you ask me a genuine question because you want to learn about the topic, because you maybe think I know something about it, given my expertise or my titles, that's great. I'm happy to engage in conversations with people who just ask questions about vaccines. But to go out of your way to tell me that you don't vaccinate your children, maybe to get a rise out of me, maybe to get an argument out of me, I'm just not gonna go for it.
I want to shift topics real quick and say you have ruined my life.
Then I've succeeded.
I can't
tiring.
I just cannot enjoy a simple guy in a lab coat.
That's not my fault.
As soon as I saw it was this dude in the lab coat, like now I don't believe anybody in the lab coat now. Almost, it's like now all I see is like, wait a minute, they're wearing lab coats to trick me. They're not like, why is he wearing PPE in his office and taking it off? What was he doing?
Oh, you know what I tell you? Yeah, no surgeon who actually would need to wear those things would then wear them all the way into their office, take off all the garb in front of you to film the TikTok, and not also have their actual credentials bragged about on the wall behind them and blaringly visible to be like, look how smart I am, look how cool I am.
Did I look him up on Google? Yes. Did I find any place where he was a doctor? No, he looked more like a social influencer.
Was this Dr. Love? Is that who you're looking up?
No, some guy who like.
I think that, but no, he has it's something like that.
I don't know who Dr. Love is, but like he gives medical. He sells products.
No,
Dr. Love was somebody like over a decade ago that faked being a doctor.
But here's the thing though. Outside of that, he's like a social. Outside of that video you seen on TikTok, when I googled him, he looks more like a social influencer. Like he's not doing it. All his other accounts is just him not. It looks like he's just taking pictures and showing you stuff he got. It's like nothing to do with medical. It's just
he's just like, I googled this and look what I found. But it's probably stuff that he's, you can, if somebody solicits you and says, hey, if you sell this product for us on your platform, here's some information you can say about it in your videos that are facts about the product, and he could just be doing a bare minimum, biology education. I'm just,
anybody can be a doctor.
A Google doctor, yes.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm talking about anybody can have the title. Yeah. Anybody can get the title doctor.
If you can perceive yourself. Well, that's why you can't trust your perception of people and use that as the basis of whether the things that they say are true or not.
Because go to those comment sections.
Whether they sound like they're gay or they look like a doctor in a lab coat doesn't tell you one way or another whether or not anything that they're saying is real or not. But if you perceive them as right or wrong, good or bad, then that's where you will go.
That's why you have to compare everything they say to what Newsmax says.
Look in the comments. What? Did you see the comments though, Doc? They believe because he's very
in the comment section of the thing.
And this, yes, I'm saying, and like this ties back to my atheism. Like I can see them buying into that because Yeah, that's a very good trick to get people in. Like it's very, and he's also charismatic, and I can see how people can put their trust in somebody that's not real. And now my logic thinking is like, if I can see that now, I said like I can see that being the same way with Jesus. It was just a group of people who were just super excited about a person, and then it became this thing, and now here we are, stuck like Chuck.
I would have to agree with Dan here that if my name had been Dr. Feelgood, it might have sounded less legit, but it depends on what I was claiming to specialize in, perhaps. I'm claiming to specialize in wasting your time.
But my kidneys need detoxing.
Wasn't Dr. Feelgood Elvis's doctor? Or maybe it was I think it was a nickname for a doctor that maybe gave drugs to a bunch of celebrities.
A song with lyrics about a Dr. Feelgood. I don't know. I think the concept of it is somebody who gets you high. Or
the best doctor I know is Dr. Zoidberg.
Zoidberg.
Look, I'm a homeowner.
Welcome to the Zoidberg.
This is one in the Lost City of Atlanta. You remember the Lost City of Atlanta?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Well,
Futurama?
Yeah, Futurama. Well, Atlanta was sunk underwater.
I'm trying to remember. I'm sure I've seen it. I've seen them
all. Mermaid.
He was finna have coitus with the mermaid, but she was like, "Yeah, what's that little doodad thingy?"
The Coca-Cola factory.
And he was like, "Hey, where do I put it?" She was like, "You never done this before? I just lay my eggs." And that's what, because Fry was going to stay there, but that when he found out that's how they would do it.
I see. It wasn't death by snoo snoo. It was lay eggs.
Yeah. So he ran out of there. That's fine. It was a good episode. You should watch it. Zoidberg had found a shell underwater and he became a homeowner.
The Coca-Cola factory in Atlanta had mutated the sea life.
Yeah. Turned everybody into mermaids. Okay. It was like like with the Dixie. It was like, imagine a Popeye's Chicken Man.
Okay. I do love Futurama though. Sinners, just a bunch of sinners. Well, I mean, we've been hanging out for an hour. How you guys feeling? Are you feeling good? I am now apparently Dr. Feelgood, so I just need to make sure. Are you feeling good?
Dr. Phil? Hey, Dr. Phil.
Field?
No, Dr. Phil.
That just makes it sound creepy. Feels good.
No, Dr. Phil.
Phil?
Phil, Dr. Phil.
Oh, Dr. Phil.
Ew. Sorry. I blocked that from my brain. That's not a real doctor.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody, like, when that show came out, nobody really nobody was really thinking about, like, everybody thought he was like, oh yeah, everybody was like, we didn't know that anybody can just get a doctor.
I don't remember what does he have a doctorate of some kind, or
it could be, but we didn't know.
He has some credentials of some kind, I'm sure. I just don't remember what they are. Look them up. I mean, obviously, I can't even think of what they are.
But they didn't tell us that you could get a doctorate. You could be a doctor.
Doctor of chiropractor.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like when we thought doctor, you think like medical. So doctor. So if you just put doctor from everybody's kind of
lots and lots of years of college and education.
Doctorate in filmmaking.
And nobody told you about accreditation.
Right.
So you can get a doctorate in literally any. I can make up a doctorate for King of the Hill knowledge.
Didn't someone in your family recently get their doctorate?
No, they did. No.
Didn't even finish it? Was
a doctorate in King of the Hill?
No.
Connect.
They're not there yet. They got to finish the master's.
It's an unaccredited doctorate program, I'm sure, but
no, it's legit. It's legit. It's bound by
legit,
price.
But unaccredited.
It's like, but here's the thing, though. To everybody else there, it looks like a big thing because of the position this person holds. So they're type. So they just assume this person. They already assumed this person was in that educated realm anyway.
Sure.
So adding that, they have no reason now to question the quality of the degree or where the degree is coming from because they already have the trust in them. So they don't know that, they don't really know that, hey, man, it's like, it's a degree, but it ain't gonna really just.
I mean, that's where that critical thinking skill is like, okay, I'm supposed to trust a doctorate.
Well,
but
sorry.
Accredited?
Well,
what does
sorry.
the accreditation process include?
Well, sorry. Some of these people do not have the privilege to critical think.
Well,
I mean, kind of.
I would argue everybody at some point doesn't have critical thinking, and it becomes it's easier for some people and harder for others because really all it is a thought process, and some people can get there quicker than others.
It takes a lot of. Some people didn't get a lot of training in that, so that little pathway on that brain is
and
that brain like when Patrick was trying to think and they're trying to fire up that section of their brain. Like you ever see, it's like, man, wow. It's I am so like when I see it, I'm thinking like, wow, wow. I was watching somebody on TikTok live doing like they do like a news thing, they talk about what's going on in the world and things like that. And I was just sitting there looking, I was just waiting for her to finish reading. I said, like, oh, she's reading an article. Okay. I mean, you ain't really doing anything, you just recite already been found. And I said, I wonder if she's gonna, because she brought up like a estimates and numbers and things like that. I said, okay, it's okay, you can read the article, now lead people to the information. Oh no, you just reading articles. I thought you was gonna like if you bring up a statistic, you ain't gonna no, you're not gonna cite nothing. Oh, okay.
99% of people doing news on TikTok is just reading other people's news.
Yeah,
and other people's news.
Remember, garbage in, garbage out. We were talking about AI earlier. It's the same. We are just a more advanced version of what we're creating, right? Because AI is a creation of people, and it's only as good as the people who told it how to think.
And it suffers from the same flaw.
And it's only going to be as good as the people who can tell it how to think, of how good they think, and what they thought of, and did they think of everything. And that's why it takes trial and error, and yes, and things change.
My first, if you give me a statistic, my first thing I do is pause whatever I'm doing. Let me go find whatever you're talking about because I need to know. Right. I need to see. I need the
statistic correctly. Is the statistic collected and did they do the math correct? Is it automatically for the kind of statistics they're trying to do? Like
my first assumption is that it's going to be misleading in some way or another, even if everything's right.
And then I say,
that's the thing about
then also, when did the statistic come out? Because that's like some people are using.
How old is the data? Is it relevant?
People are using statistics that's like a decade old, and I'm like, well, okay? Yeah, I guess if you're using that data, but what's the new data? Let's go get the new data. And I'm like,
we have better ways of finding out information now. We have better scanning machines that can detect things better. So maybe the data that we have for that thing is better now. And now we have a more accurate picture. Now we can tell who does and who doesn't do well. Yeah. How old's the data? How good was the data collected? Is the data calculated correctly?
Who like I watched this documentary one time, and it was a conservative leaning documentary, and the person was using historical stuff, and he was quoting this guy. I think he was talking about your thing. What's your name? Stopper, the thing you're always trying to get us to join into.
As far as what goes,
the big C. That thing.
I was trying to think of what you were talking about.
I don't want the algorithm hearing me say it.
Oh yeah.
I don't want the government on my back.
Oh well, it's coming.
No, but what I'm saying though is, and it was like a person talking. They was talking about it was laying out the plans that was going to take and what it's going to do and how it's going to be and what it's going to be, and it was this whole thing. And it was like, he presented it in a way that like, okay, that's some historical. What he was using was historical. I said that's cool. I said you did some searching, so you did the research and found some data that backed up what you was trying to say. I said let me go look up the guy that you're using, and I said oh, he was like a conspiracy theorist.
So yeah,
Like, you didn't say that. You didn't say it was a conspiracy theorist. Like, oh, this thing is leaning heavy one way. That's like all your information that you're basing your entire documentaries off is a guy who's considered a
so that's
conspiracy theorist.
why we started this show out by going through sources of that book.
Yep. Which I would
Communism has
recommend people do
But-
whatever they want to read.
communism had so much propaganda made about it.
This isn't your chance to try to.
Well, I was going to say, as an example, though, that of what you're talking about, like one thing people say is, like I think the number is 150 million people
I'm not part of
killed-
it, Uncle Sam.
killed by communism, but that number comes from one book
America.
called the Black Book of Communism, and it includes the Soviet
America.
Union killing the Nazis.
America.
It includes all the Nazis in that number. So the exploring the source of the thing that you're using as your source is very important to do.
Yeah. When you look at it's not like you go look at. I said, let me go look into. Then you go look into the people's like some of these studies. You go look at the places that are doing the studies. You got to, what are their views? And then you go look. I said, of course, this is the data you're going to use.
And you're looking at their views because you're trying to see if they have any bias.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, okay, these people have somewhat of a bias on this. So
because like what the AI is struggling with, because it's maybe major, like the order of operations of what's important is to give the asker, the user, what they're asking for, and so to please them, they will give them data that, however they shaped the question, will give them the answer they were looking for, instead of useful information that would maybe lead them down a different track. So if you have a bias, you might find what you're looking for. In fact, that's the idea. If you have a bias, you will always find what you're looking for.
And now you have people. I saw a lady on TikTok that I was having a conversation with. She barely could say Chat GTP. Yeah, I barely could say it, but she barely could say it and explain what she was doing. And she was talking to it. She said, "What you do is you find verses in the Bible about this and this, and then yeah." I'm saying, like, it's gonna pull from biased sources for that information because it's searching for the information to answer what you want. So it's not going to go to any contradicting information about the answer you want. It's giving you the answer you want. You don't want when they ask these questions, they're not asking broad enough. One, they're not asking broad enough. They're asking for the answer. So it's going to give the answer. And where is it going to get the answer to confirm what you believe? From the source that already confirms what you believe,
right?
And which is the source of its source, which I just don't know.
Could you imagine an AI algorithm that would help find you the answers to the questions you were asking, but it's only allowed, like it's only as good as the information it has to work from, right? And so it's only allowed to pull information from the JW.org website. And so all you're allowed to search and get information from, so no matter what question you ask,
I got a better
that
one.
is the only source that it will take answers from. You should do this, actually.
How about an AI that only pulls from 4chan?
And they're not.
Each groom our own AI to pull from very specific sources and ask it the same question.
It's funny that you choose to use the word groom after I say 4chan.
What's going to happen is the AI is then going to become the source. To some people, it's going to become the source.
That's why I asked AI what its sources was.
The concern.
And usually I'll drop down the sources where it gets stuff from, but are they going to do that? No.
Right. And if it doesn't give you any sources, did you make this up? Right? Like those are like, how did you get this information?
They're going to put the trust. They're putting the trust in, like, this computer's doing exactly what I have to do. So it's giving me all the stuff that I need. It's not, I don't need to know where it's getting it from because it's AI. It's AI.
You need to question those men in New York. They're telling the truth. The new light, the true truth.
The new truth.
The new truth. Newest They're
You know,
tweeting on True Social. It's so true.
and these people, some of the people won't even. Some of the
Truthing on,
people.
sorry,
But here's the
truthing
thing.
on.
Oh,
But here's
true.
the thing. Most people don't even know where their AI is pulling from. You don't know what information is coming from.
The word truthing should have been in the movie Idiocracy. I wish that was in there. It's so perfect.
Truthing?
We gotta watch that. We gotta do the AI.
I'm truthing, Your Honor.
We gotta do clips.
We
Clips
can do that.
of.
We can
if
do
we
that
can't
next
watch.
week. We can do that next week.
Can we can't actually watch that movie on here,
No,
right?
I'm talking about
No, we can't.
no. You try what? Yeah, we can do that.
Idiocracy.
We can't show people that.
Yeah, you can watch movies on here.
As long as you
No.
talk over it constantly.
No,
the whole
I'm
time.
not. No, I'm being sarcastic.
It's like, and I'm talking over this movie the whole time. Blah, 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 blah.
I see. Now I see how
Don't look
y'all.
at
I
it.
see how y'all got sucked up into that.
Just believe the
I
first thing
see-
someone
I
tells
see.
us.
In my mind, I'm thinking like, clearly she knows I'm being sarcastic.
What? What is sarcasm?
She had a sarcasm.
It's just really great seeing Hulk Hogan at the Republican National Convention because he has the same exact outfit as President Camacho.
Great times.
So,
Camacho, 2028.
All right. We did the Minnesota goodbye. We already kind of started the goodbye process earlier.
Oh, then we started talking. Oh, okay. All right.
And then we
bye.
started talking again. And
Right.
I even put the hints in there that we were gonna do that. And then some people even said goodbye.
Oh.
So someone
next
even said they were having a
time.
good time sitting, you know.
Oh.
But you know, it's like, you know, it's been fun. I'm glad we're back.
Are we?
Things, life, stuff.
Oh, see, we're doing the Minnesota
Topics.
thing again. We're doing the Minnesota.
Topics. So, yeah.
Bye.
I like the idea of talking about
Bye.
bye.
We could do bye.
I like what we talked about today, and we could probably do ChatGPT stuff fun. You know, maybe we can play some fun AI games next time and just see what we can come up with. So
We can find the truth.
Find on Truth Social.
But yeah, we'll ask AI, why are Jehovah's Witnesses the true religion?
I have an account on there too.
Have one AI that only looks on the JW.org website and one that will Google anywhere.
JW is the truth. But bye. Bye, guys.
We'll find out. Come hang out with us next time. Bye.
Best way to leave.
Yeah.
I wish I had it worked up now.
Oh.